I meant to get here sooner. Why weren't the Gorbachevs considered socialists for dressing well? Oh, yeah, right. The great dictator of the proletariat, Uncle Joe Stalin's mediocrity was overwhelmed with resentment. That meant you never changed or gave a damn what happened to anyone. Glorified Stalin's paranoia how long? In the end, it was the doctor's turn with Stalin. But you, the icon of the Dominion, the Kremlin, remain as elitist as it gets. No one is equal to your rewarding of the spoils. It's for all of you, just as with Stalin. If not caviar, another substitute the country can't get. The lazy madman spawned more lazy madmen. When asked, Stalin acted ignorant of what individual tragedies his government performed. A fool fooling others. Real egalitarianism wouldn't have produced the consequences this country endured. Humiliating that everyone can't get a decent suit. He allowed her to scare as much of the square as he could. Bastard, your act sucked. Malignant capitalism? No, Stalin, no, no. No, don't spread rubles. Fashion is evil decadence. Decide backwards what industry is so posterity can blame philosophers for fooling you into wearing that assembly line jumpsuit. A self-presented, Oscar-winning portrayal of the country's hallucinatory dream to replace shared servitude with the exact same thing, yet more monstrous. Just another way to keep the masses in line. Bullcrap, jerk. Hank nodded for me to come up with something. But I told him what I thought. I said, Americans seem to suffer from needing to amuse yourselves. You should be at Stalin's tomb so spectators know who you're yelling at. Hank laughed and pointed. Look, the Kremlin wishes to rewrite history again. We know they'll find the words. Even themselves coming to blame Stalin's resentment of wealth for being blinded by fashion's guilt. That's you, my humble landmark. Inside you, the fear of the upended apple cart keeps things cozy and satisfied for everyone being carried along. Who wasn't outdressing the Gorbachevs, huh? Among the elite, who wasn't wearing a coat, long and strong enough to be warm all winter? Blinded by what, jerks? You worshipped resentment, but withheld your prosperity from so many people, and fashion was just stunning economic activity, drawing all the economic classes toward what they shouldn't have to keep their hands off. Consumerism. Yes, there's an ism we're stuck with. Did Tsar Joseph Jugashvili portray glamour for no one until everyone could be glamorous? Heck no, in name only. He was not a man of real deed or steel, Stalin. But neither have you, mighty Kremlin, cared to lift the weight of consequences to figure out anything, just the effort to threaten and preserve rule. So back under the Kremlin wall is exactly where Stalin belongs, in the dustbin of history. Walking the bikes the 4 or so kilometers back to the hotel could have taken all night, but I led. At the hotel, they wouldn't allow bikes through the front, so as we came down the ramp, the guard yelled, "Outside-eyed!" And Hank played Echo 2 with the parking garage attendant, who always hid from us in his box. Hank yelled, "Second-class prejudice, bourgeois humbug." Uninfluenced, the guard stuck steadfastly behind hotel policy and locked his door. Hank whispered, "Voices of such proportion get nowhere," then yelled, "Come on, man, share." But the guard kept his door locked, and Hank asked about our office key when the door was wide open. He ran in and searched everywhere, even under the phone, and screamed, "The box! I should have made sure, then ran up a flight of stairwell and came back to lock his bike. His stuff was in his suite I hadn't told him about since he was so uptight and feisty. He canceled the reservation and insisted he owed a penalty fee for the empty night. But we finally took possession of our windowless underground garage office. He distracted me with a capitalist tool sweatshirt while putting the box away where it always was, forming the desk bookshelf against the wall. Hank sat on the plain-only desk and said, "This office costs Hammer nothing. Well, not nothing, and I owe for that room that's too late to rent." I said, "Nonsense. People are on standby lists all over Moscow." Hank said, "Hammer's money. Straightforward business is diminished by shortcuts. Erasing our debt would be a favor. I owe Hammer enough, too much. I want our games separate." I told Hank the obvious. You did not make reservation. You, and I seriously mean you, do not dent his empire.